You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
No.
What if I told you that in 1999, a single movie predicted how technology would control our lives? Look around. We're all plugged in, living through screens, choosing virtual reality over what's real. A movie saw this coming 25 years ago. The iconic Reign of Green Code. A man in sunglasses dodging bullets in impossible ways. A choice between harsh truth and blissful ignorance. The Matrix wasn't just another sci-fi movie. It was a warning about our future. But here's what most people missed. Beneath the groundbreaking special effects and kung fu fights lies a prophecy. One that's unfolding right now in ways even the filmmakers couldn't have imagined. In an era when the internet was still crawling and Mark Zuckerberg was just a teenager, the Wachowskis created a film that would not only revolutionize cinema, but predict our growing dependence on digital reality. Released at the twilight of the 20th century, The Matrix captured our millennium anxieties and turned them into something prophetic. The film took a modest $63 million budget and transformed it into a $463.5 million phenomenon. But the real revolution wasn't in the numbers, it was in our minds. For the first time, mainstream audiences were asked to question the very nature of their reality. And today, as we scroll through our feeds, lost in our digital worlds, that question becomes more relevant than ever. But to truly understand how The Matrix shifted the foundation of both cinema and society, we need to look closer at what made it unique. Because this wasn't just another action movie, it was the moment Hollywood caught up with the future. And everything you think you know about this film, you might want to think again. But before we reveal how The Matrix predicted our future, let's talk about the moment that changed cinema forever. You know the scene. Neo dodging bullets in impossible slow motion. What looks like CGI wasn't CGI at all. What you're actually seeing is 120 cameras, firing in perfect sequence, capturing a moment that would redefine what's possible in film. They built this entire system because traditional special effects just weren't good enough. Think about that. They invented a whole new way of filming because the technology of 1999 couldn't match their vision. See that green tint throughout the Matrix scenes? It's not just a style choice. The Wachowskis color-coded reality itself. The Matrix glows green, like old computer screens, while the real world bathes in cold, harsh blue. Your brain processes this subconsciously, feeling the difference between reality and simulation before you consciously notice it. Just like today's phones and screens, that artificial glow has become the color of our digital lives. Now, here's something most people missed. 90% of those mind-bending action scenes? They're practical effects. That lobby shootout where concrete explodes everywhere. Real explosions. Those martial arts moves? The actors trained for 4 months straight. Keanu Reeves even learned kung fu with a serious neck injury. This wasn't just movie magic. It was pure dedication to bringing this digital world to life. The Wachowskis knew they needed something different for their fight scenes. Enter legendary choreographer Yuen Wu-Ping. But there was a problem. American actors had never trained like this before. The solution? Completely revolutionize how Hollywood does action scenes. Those wire stunts you see in Marvel movies today? That seamless blend of martial arts and special effects? That's The Matrix's legacy. Even the iconic digital Reign of Green Code isn't random. Those aren't just computer symbols. They're actual Japanese characters, specifically sushi recipes. Yes, the code that represents our entire simulated reality is partially made up of instructions for making California rolls. It's these tiny details that show just how much thought went into every frame. The sound design deserves special mention. Every bullet dodge, every reality bend, Every moment when the Matrix glitches has its own unique audio signature. The team created these sounds by combining slowed-down raindrops, ultra-bass speaker vibrations, and processed animal noises. This attention to sonic detail helped sell the reality-bending effects in a way visuals alone never could. What's truly revolutionary is how these technical innovations serve the story's deeper themes. The bullet time effect wasn't just visual spectacle, it represented Neo's awakening awareness of the Matrix's artificial nature. The wire work wasn't just for cool kung fu scenes. It physically demonstrated the liberation of understanding that physical laws are merely programmed limitations. Perhaps most impressive is how they achieved these groundbreaking effects without modern digital tools. The Wachowskis and their team had to invent new technologies and techniques, often building custom equipment from scratch. They didn't just push the boundaries of what was possible in cinema, they completely redefined them. And today, as we scroll through our phones and dive into virtual reality, those boundaries between real and digital continue to blur, just as the Matrix predicted. But here's the truly mind-bending part. As revolutionary as these effects were in 1999, what they were really showing us was something far more prophetic: our own future. Impact imagined spending 4 months learning Kung Fu while partially paralyzed. That's exactly what Keanu Reeves did after a severe neck injury nearly derailed the entire production. But this wasn't just about learning to kick and punch. It was about transforming from Thomas Anderson, the slouched programmer, into Neo, humanity's last hope. Watch the way Reeves carries himself early in the film, uncertain and hesitant, then compare it to his final scenes. That's not just acting, that's physical storytelling at its finest. Here's something most people don't know. Reeves was so convinced of the crew's importance that he gave away a significant portion of his earnings to the special effects and costume teams. Why? Because he understood that in The Matrix, every person behind the camera was just as crucial as those in front of it. When Lawrence Fishburne speaks as Morpheus, you're not just hearing dialogue, you're hearing prophecy. But did you know Sean Connery was originally offered the role? Imagine James Bond trying to explain the nature of reality. Instead, Fishburne brought something unique. A voice that could make you question everything while making you believe anything was possible. Watch the famous Desert of the Real scene again. The way he delivers what is real, how do you define real? It's not just philosophical questioning, it's hypnotic conviction. Then there's Hugo Weaving's Agent Smith, a performance that redefined what a digital villain could be. Weaving created Smith's distinctive speech pattern by imagining how an AI would try to sound human but not quite succeed. Listen carefully to how he says Mr. Anderson. It's almost musical, but slightly wrong, like a computer trying to understand human emotion. This was years before we had real AI assistants, yet Weaving somehow captured their uncanny valley perfectly. The casting process itself reads like a Hollywood what-if story. Will Smith was originally offered Neo, but chose Wild Wild West instead, a decision he later admitted kept him awake at night. Sandra Bullock could have been Trinity, with the script being rewritten for a female Neo. But when Carrie-Anne Moss stepped into Trinity's boots, she brought something unprecedented. A warrior who could be both deadly and nurturing, breaking action movie stereotypes about female characters. Remember that first time Neo jacks into the Construct program? The subtle shift in Keanu's expression tells the whole story. The moment when digital becomes more real than reality. Or watch Trinity's face when she whispers to Neo's apparently dead body. Moss conveys more emotion in that whisper than most actors manage in an entire film. These performances elevate The Matrix beyond mere special effects spectacle. The famous lobby shooting scene works not just because of the incredible choreography, but because we believe in Neo's journey. When he stops the bullets at the end, it's powerful not just because of the visual effects, but because Reeves has taken us on the journey from doubt to belief. When Morpheus tells Neo he believes in him, we believe too, because Fishburne has made us believe in Morpheus. But perhaps the most remarkable thing about these performances is how they've aged. 25 years later, As we grapple with questions of AI consciousness and digital identity, these portrayals feel more relevant than ever. Weaving's Agent Smith now seems less like science fiction and more like a warning about AI gone wrong. Reeves' Neo journey from confused programmer to digital messiah mirrors our own struggles with technology's growing power. And speaking of relevance, there's something about these performances that nobody noticed until years later, something that would completely change how we understand the entire film. Imagine walking into a theater in 1999. The internet is still making dial-up noises. Y2K panic is in the air, and there's this weird movie poster showing a guy in sunglasses and a leather coat. Nobody knew they were about to witness history. The initial reviews were fascinatingly mixed. Roger Ebert gave it 3.5 stars, calling it a wildly cinematic, futuristic thriller. Others dismissed it as style over substance. Entertainment Weekly famously called it the first mainstream film to plug into the dark, trippy sensibilities of cyberpunk fiction. But here's what's interesting. Almost everyone missed what the film was really about. Fast forward a few months, and something unprecedented started happening. Philosophy professors began teaching the Matrix alongside Plato's cave allegory. Religious scholars discovered layers of Buddhist and Christian symbolism. Computer scientists debated its artificial intelligence concepts. Suddenly, this action movie was being discussed in university lecture halls. But the real evolution of The Matrix happened years later, when both Wachowski sisters came out as transgender women. Suddenly, the film's subtext exploded with new meaning. That famous line, "Splinter in your mind," took on profound significance. The entire story, about feeling trapped in a false reality, fighting to be recognized for who you really are, became a powerful trans allegory. Even the character switch was originally meant to change gender when entering the Matrix, though studio executives didn't allow it. Here's something mind-bending. Hidden in plain sight are details that took years to discover. That scene where Neo touches the mirror and it becomes liquid. It's not just a cool effect, it's foreshadowing his understanding that reality is malleable. Room 1, O1, where Neo works. That's a direct reference to George Orwell's 1984, the room where people face their worst fears. Even though ships have meaningful names, Nebuchadnezzar references a biblical king who experienced prophetic dreams, while Osiris symbolizes death and rebirth. The film's digital rain effect, now iconic, contains actual reverse Japanese characters. Some are sushi recipes, a playful detail that adds to the film's layers of meaning. But more importantly, it represents how familiar symbols can hide deeper truths, just like the Matrix itself. What's fascinating is how audience perception has shifted. In 1999, the idea of living in a simulation was science fiction. Today, Elon Musk openly discusses the possibility we're living in a computer simulation. Silicon Valley executives take the red pill metaphor seriously. Scientists debate whether we could actually detect if we're in a Matrix-like reality. Remember that scene where Morpheus shows Neo the desert of the real? In 1999, it seemed like dystopian fantasy. Today, with discussions about climate change and technological dependence, it feels uncomfortably prophetic. The film's warnings about AI control read differently in an era of powerful language models and autonomous systems. Each new release format added layers of interpretation. The Ultimate Matrix Collection included philosopher commentaries alongside traditional director's commentary, treating the film as both entertainment and philosophical text. Different cuts emphasized different aspects of the story, though thankfully avoiding the kind of controversial revisions that plagued other sci-fi classics. But perhaps the most remarkable evolution is how the film's central questions have become our daily reality. When Neo asks, "What is real?" In 1999, it was philosophical. Today, as we navigate deep fakes, virtual reality, and AI-generated content, it's practical. The Matrix didn't just predict the future, it gave us the vocabulary to understand it. And speaking of understanding, wait until you see how this film's legacy continues to shape our world today. 25 years later, The Matrix hasn't just aged well, it's become eerily prophetic. As Mark Zuckerberg builds his metaverse and AI models generate human-like responses, the film's central question, what is real, feels more urgent than ever. Look around, and you'll see the Matrix's DNA everywhere. That slow-mo effect in every superhero movie? Matrix. The sleek, cyber-gothic aesthetic in modern science fiction? Matrix. Even the way we talk about technology, glitch, plugged in, system failure, echoes the film's vocabulary. But here's the unsettling part. What seemed like science fiction in 1999 feels like documentary today. When Agent Smith talks about humans being a virus, it mirrors current AI safety debates. The machines harvesting human attention? That's basically social media's business model. Even the idea of choosing comfortable illusion over uncomfortable reality plays out daily in our digital echo chambers. Perhaps The Matrix's greatest legacy isn't its special effects or fight scenes, but its warning. As we build our own virtual worlds and AI systems, the film's message becomes clearer. The real power isn't in controlling reality, but in choosing to face it. Next time you catch yourself mindlessly scrolling through your phone, remember, The Matrix isn't just a movie anymore. It's the world we're building. The only question is, which pill are you choosing? If you found this analysis interesting, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Are we living in our own version of The Matrix? And what other classic films would you like me to analyze next?